Welcome back to Real Talk. I am putting us on alert today because I read a study out of U of M, and sometimes we talk about current events or studies and things like that on Real Talk. But today I read this study that lower grades actually directly correlate to lower self-esteem in our kids. And especially at the collegiate level and the high school level. So I wanted to kind of go there because as a parent, when my kids were growing up, I didn't worry about it until they hit 9th grade. And then I went, oh, you need good grades to get into the right college, and you need good grades to be able to get a good job, and blah, 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 blah. So inadvertently, I went and put pressure, I think, that good grades, all A's. Now, mind you, C's are not good, weren't good in my book or whatever. So I just kind of want to open up that can of worms, get raw about everything we did right and wrong, and just talk about this idea that grades are a measure of success. Because I know that you and I both think about success very differently as a whole. And I want to talk about how grades affect that and impact that.
Yeah, grades are one of my soapbox items. I have serious issues with it. And I will preface this by saying I also don't have a better solution for a traditional school setting. Mm-hmm. So, this is not me dissing the schools, because I don't know how I would do that, honestly. I have to look at other models or whatever, but I have serious issues with grades. One is we homeschooled our kids for several years, and I thought a lot about it because people kept asking us about it because we didn't give tests. We didn't grade their assignments. And people kept going, well, how do you know if they know it? I'm like, because we talk to them every day and we look at the work that they did. I mean, if they did their math homework and they got half of them wrong, then we go through it and we try and help them figure out what they didn't understand and help them get the concept. A grade wouldn't tell them that they didn't get the concept. The fact that they couldn't do the problem told them they didn't get the concept. Or if we had a discussion about a book that we read, I can tell what concepts they got or didn't. And the purpose of learning isn't to get a grade. The purpose of learning is to learn and to become a person who can think. And part of that process is making mistakes.
It's so interesting you say it that way, because I look back on my own personal experience and I had the grades. Mm-hmm. I did. And I don't know anything. And this is full disclosure. Yeah. When it comes to history, geography, and liberal arts, I don't know hardly anything. But I got straight A's in those subjects because what I was really good at was studying for a test and then regurgitating that information. The minute that information hit the table, whoosh, it was gone.
Yes. Ditto. Same thing.
And I think that, and so that's one of the reasons why grades to me are this inaccurate way to measure knowledge. And I think the intent of grades is to measure knowledge. But sometimes it doesn't work that way, and it impacts our kids emotionally in a very negative way.
I agree. My husband is a tutor. And he works, he's a math tutor specifically, which is a challenging subject for many kids. And the thing that frustrates him the most are the kids who have test anxiety, because he knows they know the concepts.
Right.
They just don't test well. And we won't even get into my issues about types of testing, but not enough soapboxes for that. But yeah, so one of the things that we did with our kids is that, because they went to school for a little bit and then we homeschooled, and then they went into the public schools, one for high school, one for 2 years of middle and then high school. So they were going into a system where they were going to be tested. and they had not been being tested. Except for one situation, but we're not even going to go there. But we had talked to them about it because they heard people asking us questions, or they would talk to other kids who are in school and they have to study for a test. And so we had these discussions about what tests were and what they really meant. And so my kids had a preconceived notion that tests were something that their parents didn't care about. We only wanted them to learn and to learn how to learn. And so fortunately, they didn't get the test anxiety to go with that. But I did see that as soon as they got back into the school system, they became grade focused, which is something I didn't want because, like you, Judy, I got the grades. That's just not an issue. But it doesn't mean I learned things. I even remember doing math with you. We were both math majors in college, and we'd be sitting there and be doing the homework, and I'm just like, phew, done. And you're like, but wait, why did this work? And I'm like, I don't care why it worked. It's just done.
Right.
I had to get the homework done. It's done.
And it's interesting because we all come to the table, if you will, with different ideas and behaviors or insights that we have picked up along the way. And I think it starts when our kids are really little and we reward them for the good report card, or we reward them, or we question,
why didn't you get an A, or why didn't you get a B, or what happened here?
Exactly. And, I kind of giggle because I have a niece who is fantastic when it comes to school and grades, except gym. And she is like this cutie pie thing, and physical stuff is just not her thing. And she is so stressed out because she got a B in gym. Mm-hmm. And it's like this whole anxiety thing. And I don't know if we can actually, give specifics today.
Some that help.
Yeah, something that'll help. It's that mindset around it that I encourage parents to kind of go, why are you focused on the grades? What is it that you think that represents? Because whatever that mindset that you have is somehow translating to your kid. And so if you see your child getting test anxiety and focusing only on the grades, it's really important to redirect that focus for them. And I know, Sandy, you might have some specifics that parents can do.
Well, that was one is, actually have the conversation with your kids about what are grades and what's really important. And the reason parents, we want our kids to have good grades is to get into the college of their choice and to be successful. But we did the Real Talk on, I'm trying to remember the exact title, but it was parents' expectations, how parents' dreams for their kids affect them. Right. So you can go to mightyparentingtv.com or go to mightyparenting.com and click on the TV thing, and you can watch that YouTube video, which is really interesting because it ties very directly into this. But we want our kids to have a good life. Well, here's the thing. Companies and even colleges are now learning that what they need are people who can think and learn.
Right.
Not people who get a 4.0. And that's going to become more and more prevalent. So teaching your kids how to learn, and then when they're going to interview, to address their grades, to grab that bull by the horns and say, hey, I don't get great grades because, and give the facts. I experienced test anxiety, and I have learned some techniques to deal with that, and I've improved. However, I know how to learn. I have had to work harder at learning, so I actually have more techniques at my disposal, and give them that confidence back. Because that's the part that concerns me, Judy, right. Is, this study showing that the poor grades affects their confidence. And the most ridiculous thing about it is some of the most successful business people and entrepreneurs in our country, in fact, most of the ones that are hyper successful, got terrible grades. Many dropped out of school. There's the old Einstein thing. People who can solve problems and be successful and be happy aren't necessarily the ones who get the best grades.
Mm-hmm.
So the things parents can do very specifically are change our own thoughts and expectations,
Mm-hmm.
and then change our kids' thoughts and expectations, and take that conversation out into the culture. So when you go for a parent-teacher conference and the teacher's focused on the grade, you can tell the teacher, I'm not worried about their grade. I want to understand their learning process. I want to understand their problem solving. How are they doing with these specific skills? If you're talking to the school counselor, it's not the grades I'm concerned about. This is what I want for my child. And if we keep having those conversations, we'll change the culture.
Exactly. And, just to wrap it up in a pretty little bow, I think you touched on the thing. It is how to change the expectations around grades and the powerful impact that can have on our kids' self-confidence, because it isn't about a grade. It is about the whole person, and that is what we want to focus on. That's the key to helping.
Who are you? Not what grades do you get?
Exactly. So I want to thank you all for joining us for this episode. And if it's your first time listening in, we want to just say welcome to Mighty Parenting.
Welcome.
We are more than just a podcast. We are a whole community, and we support each other as we raise our teens and parent our 20-somethings. And you can become a Mighty Parent by joining us over in the Mighty Parenting Facebook group, or signing up for podcast alerts and things that come out on email, including a little gift over on mightyparenting.com. And until next time, this is Judy Davis and my cohort, Sandy Fowler, encouraging you to become a mighty parent.